Hey, I'm Aaron,
I'm Chris.
And I'm Evan.
and this is the Three Chords Cast. So as we dive into this first episode, what we're going to see is you're going to just jump right in the middle of the conversation. When we had the idea to start this podcast, we sat down and talked about what we thought it could be. We dreamed about what it could look like in the future. And when we finally decided that we're going to go for it, we didn't really have all that at the table with us. We just hit record in the middle of a conversation as we're just talking, joking around. But that's really kind of the heart of what this podcast is about, is getting to just talk to one another, laugh together, be able to just converse and build relationships with one another. So when you jump into this, we're going to be right in the middle of it. It's not going to be anything too crazy serious right off the bat. You're going to hear some funny jokes with our great food takes. We'll let you decide what you like about that. Our thoughts on AI, is it good, is it bad? One particular facet that I'm a little bit passionate about. And then also just what three chords means as a whole. We'll eventually get to the serious stuff and why we are doing this whole thing. But if you'll sit back, relax, and enjoy and jump right into the conversation with us.
As I figured we could just talk about like this podcast as a whole, like what we envision personally, like for it to look like what we want to get out of it. I don't know, just like your excitement for the project, like anything you've been thinking about. Just there's no topic off limits, so run with it.
Pineapple on pizza. Does it actually belong?
That's a good question. These are the real questions we're going to be answering here.
I feel like that's I feel like that's an over asked or over debated one. We need to do something a little bit more subtle, like, I don't know, do marshmallows go on hot dogs?
But for real though, is just mustard on a hot dog a valid, like eating a hot dog with just mustard, the only condiment being mustard, is that the proper way to eat a hot dog?
No,
Drake and Josh say so.
I have questions. Is it the only condiment that's available?
Right. We need
It's not gonna
to
put
know
mustard on
availability.
itself.
Like, am I it's true, it's not gonna put mustard on itself. But I need to know, like, what's my budget, and I walk into a Walmart, like, what can I put on my hot dog?
Well, that's a whole different question.
Like
I was thinking,
just
I
always-
open a refrigerator, there's only mustard. Am I going to eat the hot dog plain, or am I going to put the mustard on it?
Okay. Let's come at it from that angle. You have a hot dog. You have a hot dog. You open it.
I don't know
what am
how
I
we
going to put on this?
got
The
secured
only
meat,
thing that is
but
in that
okay.
fridge is mustard. Are you eating it plain? Or are you putting mustard on it?
I'll put mustard on it.
Mustard is going on.
Yeah, I'm not going to eat a plain hot dog. I'm not a psychopath.
But you also, but then you also have
What
to
if-
ask.
What if it's a plain hot dog from Sam's?
Oh, those are good. They have more flavor.
That's true. Seasonally, what stage of life are you in? Because if I'm with buddies and we're all acting like idiots, and you open up your refrigerator and the only thing is jelly, like, hey man, are you gonna put jelly on a hot dog?
Might
Does
actually not be
curiosity
bad.
does curiosity win out? You know,
I'm gonna try a jelly hot dog.
jelly hot dog. So what you're saying is you'll go to your refrigerator right now. He's looking at the fridge.
I got grape. I got strawberry. I got preserves.
But do you have hot
You
dogs?
tell me. They're in the freezer. I'm not handling that
That's
right
not going to
now.
happen.
All right, so
My name's US
This-
Cooks, not US Thaws.
this might be like really gross. So what I put on hot dogs is like, just this is my go-to, and I don't know why, but I'll line the thing down with pickles, like sliced pickles, and then honey mustard on top.
What kind of pickles?
Not like the butter bread ones or whatever they're
just
called.
like
Just
A dill
plain
chip?
old, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, just plain old.
Do love some dill pickles.
Bro, it's a weird sweet and savory, and I don't know
I don't
what
know
it
how to put
does.
honey mustard on them.
Bro, it actually, don't knock it. I would highly recommend. I'd recommend before jelly. You know what I mean?
I want a hot dog at 10 p.m. now.
That's right.
Darn it.
I'm about to get out the George Foreman.
He is going to be thawing a hot dog at 10 p.m.
George Foreman and throw some frozen hot dogs on it, call it an evening.
So I've already learned in the first 4 minutes of recording this podcast that we are absolutely going to need a loose agenda.
I will have my iPad open with notes.
Because we will get so off topic that our episodes will be like 2.5 hours long and nobody's going to listen to them.
We went from pineapple on pizza to jelly hot dog.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Jelly hot
this
dogs.
is how our brains work.
And
We could call it Three Guys with ADHD.
Right?
Welcome to the pod.
Yeah, somebody out there is like 2 guys with ADHD. We're like, haha. But
Another
there
one.
3.
DJ
there
Khaled.
I saw the most bad T-shirt when I was picking up my kiddo from preschool a couple of days ago. It was an AC/DC T-shirt, but it wasn't AC/DC. And it said something about teachers at the bottom, but it was the logo AC/DC and it said ABCD. It was great.
I feel like that's one of those logos that they've changed a whole bunch.
It said right underneath, Teachers Rock, is what it said.
That's cool.
I saw a T-shirt the other day. I wish I took a picture of it, but you don't go around taking pictures of people's T-shirts. Maybe. I mean, maybe some people do.
You gotta get approval these days.
But it made me laugh so hard. It literally, it was a red shirt with black letters, and it said J-A tu madre. Haha, tu madre.
Oh my gosh.
And I laughed so hard because haha, your mom. But it was J-A. Bro, I was so jealous. I about walked up to that man. Hey, I'll give you $20 for your shirt.
Just takes it off.
Just right
so
there.
You asked the question, do I, in good taste, society-wise, do I take a picture of somebody's T-shirt if I think it's cool or funny or whatever? Don't think I'm weird, or think I'm weird. I don't care.
We think you're weird.
If I see a funny, if I'm at a red light, I pull up behind a car, I see a funny bumper sticker. Bumper sticker, I don't think is quite as bad, but I see a funny pun or play on words on a license plate. I will take a picture of said license plate and take it home and show Lex or whatever. And I'm just great. I have a picture of somebody's license plate on my phone now.
Do you ever think that they see you doing it in the rearview mirror?
Exactly. They look at the rear view and all they see is somebody that's just
why is someone taking a picture of my plate? What did I do wrong?
Right.
You're gonna end up on a YouTube short with 4,000 likes on it.
Meanwhile, you're just making
the AI voice.
Aaron takes pictures of plates.
Somebody stopped at a red light.
Oh, in the AI voice.
With whatever song is going on in the background.
I do not like any of those AI narration voices or caption voices. They're the most annoying thing.
It's a big bag of no bueno.
I don't know. I feel like in that light, use a subtitle. Use a subtitle or put a lower third on your video or something like that. Most of the time, whatever you're saying is in the title of your video anyway, or the title of your short.
Yeah.
So just having it on there again, I guess audio is fine. Audio saves a little room or whatever, but that's a real choice you got to make between the two because I don't know. It's just it could be just me. I might be the only one who finds it annoying. I would much rather prefer a lower third with that subtitle on there, and then you throw in a funny audio clip or something like that instead of just look what I did to get this dub. Wait till the end. Whoa, that was crazy. I think my biggest beef too with AI voices, and I've heard this on narrations too. So not only just the subtitle lines, the inflections of people's words. It is not there at all. There's no attention to detail on inflection at all.
It's all the
same
same
tone. That was crazy, or it's the weirdest differences. I've been watching this series on AI. Somebody made AI look at what if Anakin had this conversation with Qui-Gon while he was waiting for Obi-Wan to get there, or something like that. It's a really cool series that I've been watching, but the narration is the writing is beautiful. but the voicing and everything
'Cause
can
they have to
get
do
kind of
AI.
nasty. Yeah, because they got to do AI. So it's like, ugh, I wish it wasn't inflected that way because it gets kind of annoying.
Yeah.
But still, the writing on those things is fantastic.
I might pivot us slightly. So we
Murder,
were
that's
talking about the concept of the name of this podcast, right? Like when we were dreaming it up. And so I had found the verse Ecclesiastes 4:12, which again says, "Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken." So then, Aaron, you came in with the 3 chords cast. So I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are on that working title, or if you're feeling called in a different direction with it, or if there's something you like about it, or just kind of anything.
After I said it, the only thing that I thought was, obviously, I didn't want to just say podcast because having the word podcast in your title is like a little repetitive or whatever. When I said the 3 chord cast, I just liked how it sounded. I had this idea, and Chris, I've kind of showed you a couple of things. I've been doing a lot of just like tiny design logos and stuff for work and all that. And I kind of had in my brain like this 3 chords, like having the overlapping picture what it looked like, and then kind of have a little, like not Wi-Fi bars, but like that kind of sonarish looking waves coming from the top of it to kind of be like that chord cast.
Yes, yeah,
I don't know.
I like it.
Yeah, but no, I like the concept because the concept of the title, we don't have to correlate it every single time. It's just naturally assumed based on where we are, who we are, what we do, that sort of thing. So
Yes, yeah, and I'm not. I mean, you two are more theologians than I will ever be, but I know just through what I've learned through my faith that there's the verse, and one of you I'm sure can recite it about where 2 are gathered, and I just think of like us gathering together as more than one. Like it just, we empower each other, we lift each other up, and we just bring God more into this circle of the 3 of us, and hopefully can have an influence on the people that listen to this. Evan, what you got?
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it for a lot of different reasons. I think the biggest thing for me is I love that verse. So actually, Aaron, the thing that I automatically thought of was when Chris had mentioned the verse was Nick Coley and the tattoo he's got. So
Trust.
what he's got is he's got the reference tattooed on his upper thigh, and underneath it he has "Keep your brothers close," and then he's got like the chord tattooed like underneath that, and I thought that was really cool, and it just kind of reminded them that whenever bad things were going on, storms of life, crap hit the fan, whatever, like they always knew they could pick up the phone and like text SOS to one of the other 2 in the group, and or just call and say, hey, I need you. It was just kind of like a special bond between that. On a completely separate note, I thought it was actually really cool, like the in the name in particular. When I thought of it, Aaron, I know you had said like cast with the arm. I think that's really neat. My first thought was like cast as in the 3 of us, like we're, and automatically I was like, okay, like that's, I love it. I think it's great. I love that it ties into something scriptural, and it, like, this doesn't necessarily have to be the topic per se, like we do whatever, but it brought to my mind like a series of discussions around struggling together well, suffering well together, like doing good. I mean, great things happening together in life, but also just recognizing that it's not all going to be wonderful all the time. There will be storms in life, and when those things hit, like, what do you have? Obviously, the word. Who do you have it with? Your family, but also your family, and that your brothers as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, when you were talking about your friend that has the tattoo in his friend group, that he like basically like any of them can call out SOS right when they need something. I think it actually like leans itself back into the origin of us wanting to do this, because no one else would know other than us that like we've been communicating with each other for probably going on a year, and it's been like the highs, the lows, the like, hey, I need you to pray for me, like I need help right now, like I just need to chat. It just becomes like a really beautiful foundation for like what we want this to be and what we want it to symbolize, and hopefully like the influence that we want it to have on people. So that was like really cool that you touched on that, because I think that's really, really important. But I wanted to go back real quick to my terrible explanation of the Bible verse, because I looked it up and I was like, people might wonder what that is. So
I was about to say
Matthew 18:20.
yeah.
And I'm just reading the NIV because that's what I'm used to. But it says, for where 2 or 3 gather in my name, there I am with them. I don't know. Just leads back into there's already 4 of us here.
Oh yeah, it is a 4 chord already. Yeah, yeah. No, I didn't want to single myself out, but I heard this verse recently, and the verse gets mentioned, and then right after that, somebody goes, "Hey, that verse is in the section of scripture where they're talking about church discipline, right? Like that's just not, it's not all goody two shoes. It's not, because it's about church discipline." And yeah, sure. Leave that there. But that is context of that section. But you get 2 verses before that. You said Matthew 18:20,
Yep.
18:18. Truly I say to you, whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth shall be loose in heaven. Again, I say to you, if 2 of you agree on earth about anything they ask, it will be done for them by my Father in heaven. So church discipline, sure. Yeah, that was a big old thing. I think what it culminates down to after that is, what's the point of it? What's the point of when somebody sins or somebody wrongs or does whatever? Accountability and reconciliation, right? And I want to focus on that first bit, accountability, where 2 or 3 are gathered together. What are we gathered there together for? We're gathered for worship in our lifestyle. We're gathered for bearing one another's burdens. I think it's Galatians 6:1. Keeping each other accountable in these offenses. There's another piece of scripture that says, if you come to my house to worship, but you have something against your brother, leave your offering there at the altar, go reconcile with your brother first, and then come back. That's where this happens. That's part of your 3 chords in a sense. A 3 chord is strong when this takes place. We think church discipline and we think, oh, it's such a bad thing. But in reality, no, it's just meant for us to, at the base level, keep each other accountable. And if we do what it says at the beginning, if your brother sins against you, go and tell him his fault between you and him alone. If he listens to you, you have gained your brother. Why can't it just stop right there in every situation? Why can't it just stop right there? As the 3 of us being Christians, it should stop right there and not go to the next step. This right here, this 3 chords, puts us in this position so that we're building one another up, we're bearing one another's burdens, we're encouraging each other, so that when the SOS is needed, we're already set.
I love that. Just it's neat to see
tough.
like what leads into that.
Yeah. No, it's funny because when I heard it, I was like, oh great, another verse that it doesn't matter if I just know it off the top of my head and I say it, somebody's going to have some sort of contradiction to it. So I spent some time on it for a little while, and that's kind of where I ended up with it. So
I love it. Thank you.
Conversation starter.
Yeah, no, I was gonna go there too. Just because, unfortunately for me, like that chapter in scripture has been super, real in our personal life as a church. But I think the important thing with that, it talks about, it's speaking about church discipline, but what it's also talking about is like through the whole process, I had to lean on one of my pastors. This was another guy who, in this particular situation, had put just as many hours, if not twice as many hours as I have, into this specific situation. And we had to lean on each other, not just for like, what do we do now? How do we pray next? But also like, bro, I want this particular situation is frustrating me, and I want to throw my fist through a wall. Talk me off that, which is really cool because in this particular instance, that was a 2-way street where I wasn't the only one feeling like, hey, I'm so angry and I don't know how to deal with this. I need a brother to help me. he would like, yeah, a pastor would say the same thing. Like, pastor is as much of a human as anyone else. It's like, I need prayer because I am angry, or I am frustrated, or I am dealing with this. And so I think, like, going back to, again, the whole thing, I would be interested in, for this whole thing that we're gonna do. Like, I don't want it to be so serious where it's just all serious all the time. You know,
I agree.
Yeah.
like, I want to goof about jelly hot dogs or what, you know.
Oh yeah, you don't think
And
that's going to be included? That's going to be included.
right?
Oh, yeah.
100%. But I also think that the culture we live in right now is one of isolation, where the answer to everything is to shut your door, get on your phone, get on your computer, get on whatever, and get lost. You know, and whatever. It's not necessarily sin. It could just be, I'm going to play Fortnite for 4 hours, you know, which may not be a great use of time, but like, that's just what our culture is. That's how we deal with stuff. And I wonder, like, how do we, when I was thinking of this whole thing, it was like, okay, let's take real life topics.
Yeah.
Joy, hurt, moving. And it doesn't have to necessarily be biblical words, but it can just be like, I'm angry. What do I do? I'm ticked up. Like, I'm ticked off at my neighbor. What do I do?
Yeah.
Like, I'm expecting, you know, what do I do? Like, how do I live life and whatnot? I'm moving, you know, I'm moving. I'm in the process of buying a house for the first time. How do I deal with the stress of that? And so, like, yeah, it's very broad. I don't know how broad we want it to be. I don't want to be necessarily so specific that it's like, hey, let's look at these 6 biblical topics about, you know, and that might be a session, whatever, series or whatever. But I think, like, just putting that under the microscope of, like, why isolation? Why do we think that's a better thing? And what would it look like if we threefold chord that crap?
Yeah, and I like bringing our own personal experience into it, but I don't want us to shy away from things that we don't have experience with, because conversations can happen about, like, not understanding those things, because I think a lot of people can relate to that. But I would like us to use that opportunity to maybe bring someone in to, like, talk about it that does have that experience. Like, it could obviously be someone we know, and just you know, bring them on, and then we all can learn from that person and then have those conversations. Because personally, when I listen to any kind of podcast, like, I really enjoy when they bring on, like, the quote experts, right? Like, the people that, you know, just have lived it, or you know, or they do it every day, or, you know, whatever it may be.
And even, like, so, like, if we were having a conversation over a topic that I have zero experience with, what I'm going to do before I go into that is I'm going to do some kind of research, whether it be research to nail down, like, succinct questions that I'm going to ask, or just familiarize myself with the topic. And then I come into it, whatever it is, or, like, I say me, I've enjoyed hearing people come into this and ask somebody who is the quote unquote expert, or just has real life experience with that. Is this how this is? Like, what can you tell me about this sort of thing? And people will say, yeah, you know, like, we deal with it this way. That's exactly right. You know, or, man, and, like, so the example I think of is evangelism, right? People have asked me, I actually just got this question this week, like, how do you do evangelism in your place? And I'm like, bro, it's this is going to sound uber weird, but it's not going door to door, and it's not even like what we do on Sunday morning. Evangelism starts with, I'm going to love my neighbor. You know, I'm going to pick up trash. I'm going to help my, there's a guy who walks around our city. He's blind, and every time I see him, I help him across the street. It's so silly. Like, the boy helping the blind dude around across the street, you know?
But sometimes, like, silly and simple is exactly what you're called to do, though.
But it's now a relationship, and it's a relationship of, like, why do you take time out of your day to do this?
Yeah.
It's like, because I love my city the way that Christ loves my city. Well, who's Christ? Jesus. You know, you do that.
It opens the door for a conversation, like a deeper conversation.
Right. Yeah. So like you, all different types of people, all different types of cultures, all different walks of life, and I love how that is true. What is also true is in all of that there are all the same things: frustration, suffering, anger, joy, happiness, confusion, anxiety. Like there's all those same things, emotions. And with that, like how do you react? How do you handle? Do you isolate? Do you bury? Do you sweep under the rug? Or do you flesh it out? Shine a ginormous light on it with other people. So that's why, I mean, I was really excited whenever both of you guys had mentioned the name, the verse, all of that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think and this is like perfect timing to like sort of wrap up our conversation because we're at like the 30-minute mark, but I think it's really cool to hear both of your perspective on sort of like the name and like what you envision this to be. Like I know Evan, you just touched on that more, and you know, I expect this to change over time. Like any good project or any good endeavor is going to just kind of change and flow with whatever we decide we want it to be. You know, it may completely change to something different, but I'm just like really excited that we are actually doing it. Because for me, it's more time I get to talk to my brothers and really just like do life with you guys. Because, you know, technology blesses us with the ability to do that at a distance. And, you know, even though we can't be proximity close to each other, we can be spiritually and emotionally close to each other. So
For sure.
I'm pumped about it. And, yeah, I'm really excited. So
Thank you so much for listening to the Three Chords Cast. We hope you were encouraged and that you'll join us again next time. And until then, find your people, love your people, and keep your people close.